TikTok has had a hell of a ride over the last few days. So, when was it? It was on the 19th when it happened, right? So TikTok on the 19th shut down in the U.S.
Well, hold on. It shut down on the 18th.
The 18th. Okay.
It was supposed to be the 19th, but they shut down like 4 hours earlier than they were supposed to.
Okay. Interesting. Okay, so they shut down on the 18th. I guess it was like late at night.
Yeah, I was like in the middle of scrolling and it closed me out.
Okay.
Sorry.
Angel says that you sound mad, Patho. I just think you sound Mexican.
I sound mad? About what?
And if you open the app, this is the message that you got. Did you get this message, Patho? Sorry.
I sure did.
TikTok isn't available right now. A law banning TikTok has been enacted in the U.S. Unfortunately, that means you can't use TikTok for now. And this wasn't something that you could just get around with a VPN because it was tied to your phone number.
Yep.
You can't just change your phone number. Like, you can't just change your VPN to be in another country and get around it. No. It was tied to your phone number. So unless you had like a burner phone number that was from a foreign country, you couldn't, and make a new account with, you couldn't get on TikTok in the United States. Now, even if you were outside the country with the United States phone number, you couldn't get on it.
Mm-hmm.
So we are fortunate that it indicated that he will work with us on a solution to reinstate TikTok once he takes office. Please stay tuned. And it's funny how they directly name Trump here.
You know what was? Oh, I'll let you finish this, and then I'll say my little. I think things are weird.
So this is what the official Twitter post from TikTok said about the ban. So they said, in agreement with our service providers, TikTok is the process of restoring service. We thank you, President Trump, for providing the necessary clarity and assurance for our service providers that they will face no penalties providing TikTok to over 170 million Americans, allowing over 7 million small businesses to thrive. It's a strong stand for the First Amendment and against arbitrary censorship. We will work. Well, it wasn't arbitrary, but we will work with President Trump on a long-term solution that keeps TikTok in the United States. Go ahead, Patho.
Okay. I think them making TikTok unusable in the States is crazy. Like the announcement blocking you out from using it.
Mm-hmm.
Because what we had been told was that TikTok would be usable. It would continue to be fine until TikTok continued to push out updates. App stores would no longer be able to update TikTok, rendering it unfunctionable over time, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that's also originally what TikTok said was going to happen as well. So to go from that, right, to shutting TikTok down even hours before it was supposed to is like really weird, in my opinion.
Okay.
Because it was just like a complete derail from what the original statement was. And it felt like it came out of nowhere. Because the original message for TikTok being removed, like the first initial message you got did not have Trump's name in it. But then if you closed it out and opened it up again, it had Trump's name in it. I wish I had a screenshot of the first message that I had gotten.
That was like before they even started talking to Trump about, or Trump signaled that he was going to get the app back by entering in some kind of a joint venture with.
No.
That
Literally
was like
a few seconds later.
Yeah. Literally, like it shut down. She started tapping at the screen like a fucking mad woman. And then she closed the app, and then she reopened it, and then it had this message. Like, we're talking like less than a minute past.
Wow, that's weird.
Yeah.
That's
two completely
weird.
different messages. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's weird. So yeah.
It's like they were like, "Oh shit, we forgot to mention Trump's name. Hey, quick, change it, or something." Like,
Yeah. Which is just overall really odd.
mm-hmm.
Because I'm assuming this message has been ready for a while. I mean,
Yeah, I mean, it was an
we've been
imminent
knowing
thing
struggles
for
from
a long time. This was imminent because like,
the
I can't remember, like, when did Biden give the sign off for it? He gave the sign off for it.
this was in what, 23? 23
yeah,
was the end of like when 23 was when the court hearing with Show happened.
right.
With Mr. Chu. And then a whole year passed and we weren't sure what was going to happen. And then we were told, it's going to be banned
Mm-hmm.
on the 19th.
But that happened in like December. That
Yeah.
So they had plenty of time to prepare these statements.
And it's just odd that their initial statement was
Not with Trump's name in
Basically,
it.
like, sorry, but your government has not allowed this happen anymore.
yeah.
Yeah, that's
And
strange.
then she closed up the app and reopened it. And she was like, "Your government hasn't allowed the app anymore, but President Trump says that they might bring it back, so stay tuned." Basically,
Mhm.
like it. Yeah.
Was weird.
Huh. That's weird. That is weird.
Mm-hmm. I wish I had the initial screenshot. Because it sounds crazy. I mean, it was literally like not even
Well,
a
even a
full
minute.
5-10 minutes. Yeah. It
Oh,
literally was
5-10
just,
minutes,
I
yeah.
closed it out and then reopened it.
Yep.
I keep losing tracking. Don't pay attention to me, like, thinking that I'm, like, telling you to move it along.
No, you're good.
Um,
You're good.
So, as a result, and this happened before the ban happened, because people were like, "Oh shit, this ban is in fact going to happen, and there's nothing that's going to stop it." There was an exodus to a surprising location, which was this a Chinese app, which is also a TikTok, is also a Chinese app, called Red Note. And it's funny too because like the translation of the company is actually called like the Little Red Book, which
Little
is like
red book.
literally a Maoist thing, which
Yep.
is fucking like hilarious. Like it's like an obviously communist app.
Yep.
You know? So a bunch of the TikTok addicts went over and found this Chinese app that didn't have English language support, by the way, at first.
Nope.
They rolled out English support when they saw like this massive surge of foreigners into the app.
Mhm.
And that happened. So
Yeah.
and all kinds of meme-worthy stuff happened as a result. We had Americans learning that the Chinese are in fact racist in a lot of ways and don't give and don't
Racist
and don't
and
like
homophobic.
and don't like the LGBTQ shit. And
Except for lesbians, they're cool.
Yeah. Lesbians are cool. Other than that, though, they don't fuck with you.
yeah,
Literally.
and and that was funny, and to the point where like a lot of like these toxic, gender ideology TikTokers were banned on Red Note as well, because they're a bunch of fucking degenerate scum, and they are literally like whatever, like there's a word in Chinese, I think it's pronounced baitsua. I might be pronouncing that wrong though, but it literally translates to white left. It's a derogatory term specifically to the Chinese, about basically like white, like holier than thou, politically correct leftists who are actually like they're coming to their conclusions because of like their racism and sexism and bigotry without realizing it, and the Chinese people generally hate them, and so they made up a name for them called the Baitsua, and then a bunch of Baitsua scum from TikTok swarmed over to Red Note, and they were either getting banned or they were getting trolled. There were accounts that were just like openly like being racist towards them, and then like the Baitsua would be like, wow, that's really racist. That's kind of sad. And then the reply would just be, yes.
Yeah.
like thinking,
Yes.
thinking
Correct.
that by schwa, it's something like that.
Yes, correct. What are you gonna do about it? You going to get me cancelled?
It's like you think that
Try again.
It's like you think your judgments have power here. This cultural Marxist self-loathing is completely alien, and they laugh at it. Yeah, exactly. Pretty much anywhere outside of the West, every country outside of the West kind of laughs at it.
Yeah.
So, the platform known as Xiao Hongshu. God, dude,
Xiaohongshu.
Chinese is a fucking beautiful language, man. I have to say.
I agree.
It's really fucking hard to learn. But my God, is it beautiful to listen to?
What's funny is on TikTok I'll get like ads for like these short stories that are they're acted out, right?
Mm-hmm.
I'll skip the English ones, but the moment I hear like Mandarin, I'm locked in, dude. I'm watching the full 5 minutes.
Yeah, because like you don't need to be able to you don't even understand them. You just enjoy the sound of the language. It's just the most pleasant sounding language on the planet. I swear to God, it's so beautiful. Like that song that's sung during Isha's death scene in Arcane Season 2 is in Chinese. You know,
it's gorgeous, dude.
Yeah, it's so beautiful. They've experienced an unprecedented surge in U.S. adoption. According to analytics firm SimilarWeb, Red Note gained nearly 3 million U.S. users in a single day, skyrocketing from fewer than 700,000 daily active users to approximately 3.4 million. This dramatic influx has propelled the app to the top spot on Apple's U.S. App Store, indicating a remarkable shift in the American social media landscape. It's just so wild that, like, the reason that TikTok was banned in the first place, it wasn't because of the moral and cultural degeneracy. It was because of the cybersecurity and the Chinese data theft. That was basically acting like malware. And so the solution that the users came up with is like, well, let's just go to an overtly Chinese communist app.
Well, okay. So the original plan for moving to Red Note was it was originally just make an account and stay there, right? Mm-hmm. Just leave your account unused, scroll, do whatever, but don't make content. Or don't try to take over Red Note. That wasn't the original goal. But then, as the plan picked up more momentum, a lot of people were like, "Oh my gosh, we're gonna take over Red Note."
The unorganized people of TikTok, unsuccessfully an organization in their plan? No way.
I have to say that I was actually like shocked to the point of being impressed at how so many people all at once, like a hive mind, move from one app to the other.
I do think that it's like a. I thought it was pretty funny. I almost made an account myself, but Rosa said I couldn't.
Well, it's the same thing that happened when the exodus of like the leftist, PDF files and such went to Blue Sky, and...
Well, here's my thing with like them saying it was like a data security thing. Mm-hmm. I mean, obviously that wasn't the only reason. That's what they said it was. But in like a lot of interviews with like congressmen on their own, they mentioned that it was like what was it that they specifically said? It was something about propaganda, but not from us, from like a foreign country. Mm-hmm. So that's what a lot of like Congress people would say that they were getting rid of, right? Instead of being like, oh, it's like a breach in data, because every app has a breach in data. all the time.
Amazon Web Services was recently like hit with like a ransomware thing. Like even that is compromised.
And
how many times has Sony PlayStation network been hacked? You know?
Yeah.
But
no, hold on. Let me finish what I was gonna say, and then you can.
Yeah.
So, if that was the issue, right? If worrying about our data being stolen and stuff, right? Why wouldn't they get rid of every app that's Chinese owned that actually 100% steals your data, like Temu or Shein? And I understand that these aren't like social media apps, so.
But it's the
You're
same
not
data.
constantly interacting.
Yeah.
But it's the same data. They're actively stealing your banking information, your personal information, right? So if it really was a issue about your data being stolen, why not crack down on those other Chinese-owned apps as well that have proved to have issues?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I don't know.
My love, you can say your piece now.
Well, first, I was gonna say like the difference between that and like U.S. companies that like get hacked and stuff is that U.S. companies, well, they get hacked. It's not an intentional thing.
Mhm.
They're not intentionally having your data get leaked. It's just a thing that happens, right? Because someone else committed a crime. Versus a company that by design is owned by a company that is owned by a company that is owned by the CCP, right? And therefore all your data is just on hand. It's that's just the way it is, right? There's a difference between someone put a hole in our swimming pool and the swimming pool has a fucking waterfall attachment, right? There's a difference on that.
Yeah.
Built-in waterfall.
Yeah, and I'm after you explain that to me, I was like, yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, but what you're saying though about like why won't they just ban all of the Chinese apps? I do agree with you, but also I imagine that's not as easy as it sounds, and I imagine setting up a precedent for it first is probably the best route to it.
Well, I think if they had gone with banning Temu and Shein first and then moving to TikTok, I don't think the ban on TikTok would have been as much of an issue as it was. Because Temu and Shein have proved to be bad.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Whereas TikTok has not proved to be bad yet, with like data being stolen and such, right?
Hold on. You say it's not proved to be bad. What does that even mean?
Okay, so
did you remember like when you were showing me the things and they basically kept mentioning how they're Chinese and the guy was like, no, I'm not Chinese. I'm from Singapore. I'm Singaporean. I'm not a Chinese resident. No, I'm not a Chinese resident. It's like, yeah, but none of this fucking matters. I don't give a fuck where you're from. You could be American for all I care. If you're Singaporean, why isn't your company Singaporean? Why is it a Chinese company? Is your company, ran out of China or not? I don't give a fuck where you're from. You're running your company in a country where their government owns your company. They own the company that owns your company.
Then I think when that was going down, right, our Congress people should have asked better questions.
I agree.
Because at the end of the day, after all of that, it didn't make Show look like an idiot. It made our Congress look like idiots. Because here's the funny thing. There were a few people in Congress who were like, yeah, how come every time we open our apps, we see little girls dancing and stuff? And it's like, it's an algorithm, buddy. That's because that's what you want to watch, And
So you're things you like.
Yeah.
Why is that?
I wonder. And just they would ask the same questions over and over and over again. That didn't seem to really help make a point that TikTok was bad. Because they just kept asking about his nationality. Whether or not he was in the Chinese Communist Party. And stuff like
I'm not Chinese.
Yeah.
Brother, but your company is. Your company is.
But that's the thing. They weren't asking him stuff about TikTok's company for the most part, or like, TikTok in general for the most part. They were asking about him and trying to make a a dig at him, which is just stupid. But maybe it's because of their lack of asking proper questions. Just their lack of being informed on how technology works in general.
Well, you see this a lot, honestly. Like whenever you see like this happened like all throughout like all those hearings they had about censorship with big tech and stuff like that.
Yeah.
None of the congressmen were able to like nail down what the right questions with like a really good grasp and understanding of the subject that they were questioning about.
They're fucking old.
Yeah, exactly. Like
that's the issue.
They're not on TikTok. They hire like 20-year-old college kids to run their TikTok accounts, but they're not on. They don't know how stuff works. They don't know these cultures and digital ecosystems and stuff like that. It's just so they don't know like what questions to ask to like nail down the right things and get the right words out of the people that they're calling in to testify.
And I think that's a pretty big issue.
That's a really big issue.
I think
the issue you see this most in historically is Second Amendment discussions. When you have so many of these senators on the left who don't have a fucking clue about anything regarding guns.
They just don't know how fucking guns work.
They just don't know how any of it works.
They have no idea.
Yeah, and so it's like you see this kind of stuff. It's a big problem, like because all these senators they come to this conclusion because their constituencies are yelling at them, and that they drag all these people in, but they're not SMEs, they're not subject matter experts, so they just start questioning these people, and it just becomes a fucking clown show. And it's the same thing with TikTok. It's the same thing with Facebook when they drag Meta and when they drag Jack Dorsey into the Congress multiple times back when he's still on Twitter. And they've done it with like NRA people. And it's a consistent issue. But
again, like their major reason for taking down TikTok really wasn't because of the data thing. It was just because they couldn't control the content that was on there. At least that's what my major thing of thinking is. Because
I have always thought
if it was that, they would have taken down lots of different news sites, not just TikTok.
No, I think that's like a major part of it. Because it's not just like
TikTok was a particular nexus of toxic cultural degradation.
Yes.
At least, and this is the thing, it's like, even if that's not the reality and all the other platforms are just as toxic, it just doesn't seem that way. The actual reality doesn't matter. What matters is perception of reality. And the perception of reality is that TikTok was the worst of the worst of the worst when it comes to spreading gender ideology, dog shit, really toxic cultural shit. I mean, you have these things called TikTok trends that actually get people killed every now and then. Like, that's how toxic this platform is, essentially. And so it just garnered this reputation.
Well, okay.
You get constituents that...
No, we've had YouTube trends for forever that also have gotten people killed.
Stupid trends have existed for a very long time.
That's not a new thing. But my main argument against what Petha is saying is the fact that if they were going to do that, they would have targeted X. They would not have targeted TikTok.
Well, hold on.
Hold on, let me finish.
Okay.
Which government is it that tried to do this? It wasn't Trump's administration.
Well, Trump did try to ban it back in 2020.
But Biden was not Biden. Trump was the one that initially put into motion, hey, we should probably ban TikTok.
Trump didn't have a fucking clue what he was doing when he wrote that executive order, when he signed that thing. He was...
So, it's also been, it's been fucking so long.
Well, here's my thing, right? I still stand by what I said, mostly because it is a social media platform owned by another country, essentially, right?
Yeah.
That is true.
Whereas X, Meta
YouTube
are owned by
U.S. companies.
And
they're protected by the First Amendment.
Correct. So TikTok was just kind of a major target, mostly because it is in China, right?
Yeah.
So it's easier to target TikTok than to target X or Meta or YouTube, right? Because you can give that excuse of, oh, your data, or, oh, fucking propaganda, and it's just mostly different because it's owned by China.
Why would they have a problem controlling a narrative that they agree with? Like, what would they feel they need to control a narrative that's already being spun they agree with? Like, for the most part, here's the thing, right? I know that, like, TikTok has its, like, rightoid circles or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But TikTok is, like, for the most part, pretty, like, left-leaning.
I don't know if I'd say that.
I got fucking fucking warned on my first fucking stream, bitch. The fuck are you on?
I know. I know. But, like,
I can tell you firsthand.
In videos, you can say it. Like when you have posts. My love, you literally have a post saying that necrophilia is okay on TikTok that I posted, and it has not been shot down.
Yeah, you know why? Because the fucking left is degenerate! That's who's into that shit! You think that's a fucking, like, oh, dude, man, these rightoid talking points,
I'm also pretty sure I've posted a TikTok of you saying faggot. I'm just saying. It's the live content has different rules than, like, just general posting. In, like, overall, in general, you can kind of post whatever you want on TikTok. The only issue is that, like, misinformation spreads. But that's kind of, like, everywhere. It wasn't until X added the, what are they called?
Community notes?
The community notes. That,
Best feature ever.
Was a thing. Yeah, I agree.
Facebook is doing it now.
There you go.
That's what Facebook canceled all the contracts with the fact checker agencies, and they're doing a community note system instead.
Yeah. See? There you go. People being able to fact check posts in a better manner wasn't a thing until recently.
NDA brings up a good point in chat. He says that the issue that Trump had with TikTok was resolved when the servers were moved to the U.S. cloud service in Texas.
Yeah, that was a thing.
That's a really good point, actually.
He in their court hearings had said that he would, a big plan that they had was to set a base in Texas where American data was stored in an American base with American workers.
An American cybersecurity apparatus.
Yep.
Yeah.
And so after,
I have a question.
Mm-hmm.
I think I mentioned this before in the car when we talked about this. But
what?
I think I mentioned this in the car when we talked about this specifically.
Yeah.
But how can you guarantee that they're not also storing the data in their Chinese database?
That's fair. You did ask me that.
But, yep. Like, without having American workers in China verifying it. That they're playing nice.
What American workers want to go to China?
Exactly. So, the point I'm making is that's, like, a very, like... It's a fucking Band-Aid.
How do you know that there's no backdoor into a Chinese cloning server or something like that? I don't know. I work for a cybersecurity company. I should know this, but...
LMAO.
Nothing I do has anything to do with cybersecurity, though, in the company. Well, I do want to move this conversation along a little bit, though.
Yeah. You're more than welcome to.
So we talked about the Chinese-style censorship that a lot of these degenerates encountered when they moved to the app, which is fucking hilarious. But an influx of overseas users called TikTok refugees is posing a new challenge for the Red Note app, which must now strike a balance between satisfying China's stringent content moderation rules while also providing a positive experience for its non-Chinese speaking newbies. They say they have a good time, blah, 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 blah. But just days into using Reddit, some have started express frustration over the censorship rules, which go far beyond what they're used to. It's not just violent content, hate speech, or pornography that is off limits. China's internet is famous for censoring an ever-growing list of terms deemed sensitive, either politically or otherwise, meaning culturally.
Yep.
And while Chinese authorities set the censorship rules, their enforcement is generally left to the platforms, which often employ sizable teams of moderators to remove content that violates the guidelines. The one American user who identified themselves as non-binary on Reddit was censored after publishing a post on Tuesday asking the platform welcome gay people. The post was removed within hours. Next day, they uploaded a new post saying they would quit on the platform over the decision, but was soon on the receiving end of homophobic comments, with some users accusing them of cultural imposition. I love that term, cultural imposition. I always use the term cultural colonization, but imposition is pretty good too. This is what I was talking about before, how like the Chinese were like unapologetic in like being racist, sexist, homophobic, whatever towards these people, because they're just like, yeah, our government doesn't tolerate this degenerate bullshit.
The amount of Twitter posts I saw begging for the government to ban Red Note in America from Chinese users was really funny.
Like the irony of it. It's like so many layers of irony.
Yeah, it's really funny.
There were like posts of like other ethnic groups, like I don't know what fucking Asians they were, but they were Asians.
They're all the same, Patho. Come on.
Shut up! I didn't say that. I did not say that. But there were some on TikTok right after like the ban. It's not uplifted, but after access was allowed back. I remember I showed Rosa one of them, but it was literally somebody being like, I had to move to TikTok because of all of the Americans on Red Note. And it was really fucking funny, dude.
That's
like,
hilarious.
God, it was
Oh my god, that's
They
amazing.
showed up and they
That's
fucking
actually
took over,
hilarious.
like 2 fucking thirds of the platform.
Yeah, and it was
Yeah,
insane.
and
A lot of people were complaining about it because they weren't just showing up and like scrolling or being peaceful or whatever. They were showing
spamming
up
content.
and like, yeah, they were spamming content in a language that that the platform was just not meant to uphold at the time.
Yeah, they were in breach of not like necessarily the rules of the platform, but the culture of the platform was being violated.
Exactly.
And that actually pisses people off more than just rule breaking.
There literally was a dude who posted a video on Red Note that was like, if you're gay, shut the fuck up. Like, I don't care if you're gay. Like, why do you have to talk about being gay? Why do you have to let everyone know that you're gay? Like, what is the point? Are you not content with you knowing that you're gay? Like, do you gotta let everyone know, or?
Well, the thing is,
like,
we are not interested. No interest. We are no gay.
Chinese are Indians now. Okay.
I'm sorry, I don't know the Chinese accent.
And if it goes back to like TikTok, in China is a very
Indian accent.
You have to remember also that like TikTok originally had like the way that TikTok was inside of China is completely different than everywhere outside of China. Outside of China, it's just full of, just crazy shit. The TikTok trends, leftist, poison, all this, gender ideology, all this bullshit that was just brain rot. Whereas in China, it had a different name, and it was just like they limited how long you could spend on it per day. I think it was like 1 hour maximum total over across a day, and it was like all like learning and skill development content.
Chinese TikTok is phenomenal.
Yeah,
and it's literally so good. Okay, I got stuck on Chinese TikTok for like a little while because I was just constantly like I would run into one and I would watch the entire video and then I'd like skip whatever. But like some of them will be videos of like this dude out in the wild fucking cooking this awesome looking food, and it would make me really hungry. But like other videos would be like fashion content or just like it was just completely. I never saw like
there was actual
any
culture involved.
insane shit. Yeah, like it was just really good content. Like no matter what popped up, if it was from Chinese TikTok, I knew it was going to be like a good watch. Whereas with American TikTok, yeah, like your most famous influencers on TikTok are American, but it's not the same.
Mm-hmm.
It's not the same.
Yeah, absolutely. I say here that in a separate post, a male user expressed frustration after Red Note censored a photo of his upper body. Why can't I post photos of my fitness and abs, he asked, adding he had never had such a problem on TikTok and Instagram. A Chinese user suggested that he try covering his nipples, as Chinese social media platforms generally impose restrictions on displaying them when it is perceived as sexually suggestive.
No, China's just more conservative in general.
Yeah, they are.
Hide the nipple. Hide all the nipples now.
They have this weird economic system. It's like a combination of like communism and capitalism. Like they have like these economic zones, essentially. But like culturally, they're very conservative.
Yeah.
So
like being gay isn't technically illegal in China, right? But you don't like go out and tell people that. Like pride parades only started recently in China, and even then they're not that big. And it's because a lot of people just tend to be reserved. It's not even that they aren't proud. It's not even that they,
it's like this in all of East Asia.
It's that they're not self-centered.
Yeah, they just
that's what it boils down to.
Everyone knows or not.
Mm-hmm.
And I think culturally, right? Chinese
American
people
need to be the center of attention versus Chinese people are they're more like reserved. They really just kind of boils down to that.
Yeah.
Well, it's because they're shame culture.
That's just kind of like, yeah, I'll say like Asian people just in general tend to be more reserved and like just across the board.
Yeah, that's where that comes from. It comes from shame culture. So that like they're more timid, they're less likely to express themselves freely, that kind of stuff. It's just, yeah. So yeah, that's fucking hilarious. And it's gotten so bad that Red Note may wall off TikTok refugees to prevent U.S. influence on Chinese users.
So, hold on, before we get into this, I do want to say I find it really funny. I saw a post on Twitter, people talking about how, like, these people going to TikTok people from TikTok going over to Red Note might have the opposite effect of, instead of like the US people that go to Red Note getting fucking indoctrinated into commie bullshit, right? Chinese people being like, oh, that's pretty cool. Because like there's just like tons of posts of Chinese people like just being like, they're like, oh yeah, dude, I'm obsessed. I'm scrolling through all of the like foreign women. I have to follow all of them. They're amazing.
Yeah, dude. Oh my god, the amount of posts I saw of like Chinese people being like foreign women. Holy shit, dog. Whoa.
Bro, they are so forward. They don't give a fuck. They do not give a shit. They're like, they're the most proudly hetero people I have ever like witnessed, with the exception of maybe Indians. Like, holy fuck, dude. They were all for it.
But I think it's really funny that China's thinking of, barring the U.S. Yeah. I just think it's overall, it's hilarious, because at first...
I'm not showing them freedom, no.
At first, the people of Red Note were, like, really welcoming to people, because the first few people who, went were not trying to overtake the app. They just kind of, like, scrolled, saw videos, and were like, oh, like, I don't know if you'll understand this, but I think, this video is really cool. Like, the first few people who migrated over were, like, really sweet, really respectful.
Yeah, because they're new and they're alone.
Yeah.
So, you want to be super nice to ingratiate yourself. Yeah.
And then that's why they were super welcoming, because they were like, man, if everyone's like them, this isn't going to be that bad. And then the really loud lefties started moving onto the platform. And it really just, like, there were a lot of posts of, the painting where, like, George Washington is swimming across, like, the frozen,
You mean the Delaware?
River thingy? Yeah, whatever that. Yeah, that. Do you know that painting where he's got like the U.S. flag and the boat and everything?
Yeah, that's him crossing the Delaware on Christmas Eve.
So people were posting that on on Red Note with like the caption being like us on our way to what's it called? To show democracy to the Chinese.
Communists.
Yeah. Or like it was really funny shit, I'm not gonna lie. But it was just that specific image with like
thinking of that image reminds me of the fucking comedy bit that we watched, well that I watched recently.
Mm-hmm.
I forgot his fucking name. Oh my god. Dude. How am I struggling? Fuck, dude. Jesus.
What was the bit?
It's okay. I'll remember. But he was basically talking about how like he went to like a George Washington museum like during COVID.
Uh-huh.
Oh
like,
my
right
god. You showed me this.
And and he was fucking talking about fucking dude, I can't fucking find it.
It's gonna eat at your brain
I don't
now.
remember what exactly it was, but
he was basically talking about how fucking George Washington was like a fucking like 6 foot tall fucking retard. Fucking like who was like, fuck it, we're just gonna fucking kill him. Just fucking like running across. They're never gonna expect us to go across the Delaware on fucking Christmas, right?
It's fucking cold out here.
Yeah, but what they fucking didn't know is that this man was fucking retarded and just didn't care. Shane Gillis, that's who it was.
Oh, I know Shane. Yeah,
Gillis.
okay.
Yeah, he has a fucking comedy
He's
special
good.
on Netflix right now, and it's really, really funny.
Nice.
I love him, dude. He's great. I like his humor because it's very me. It's very me.
Oh
humor.
yeah, 100%. It's very Shane's great. Shane's great. So the Red Note released an update in the Greater China
Let's
region.
take into history. You have early republicanism.
With the function to separate out foreign IPs, and there are now talks of moving all foreign IPs to a separate server and having a different IP for those who are in the Greater China area. I know through VPNs and other ways people are still able to access the app, but essentially this is going to kill the app for Chinese Americans who actually use the app to connect with Chinese content, Chinese language, Chinese culture. CCP don't want American influence to spread to their citizens, top commenter wrote. That prompted another commenter to respond, a bit of irony here, seemingly suggesting China walling off American TikTok seems a lot like what the US government plans to do through the TikTok ban. But others pointed out that China has long blocked Western social media apps like Reddit and X to prevent such feared influence. People couldn't see this coming, and they have no idea what China's politics are, when Redditor suggested in the thread. So, yeah, this is... Yeah, there it is, WeChat. I was going to say they have like their own version of X, which is like WeChat.
Yeah, WeChat.
And this is like... This app does a ton. It doesn't just do like what X does. It also does like payment processing and transaction kind of stuff.
Yeah.
It does a bunch.
That's I think I read recently like more than 50% of their economy is digital.
Yeah. And in WeChat is everybody in China has WeChat on their phones. Everybody, because it's like so crucial to like day-to-day life to them.
Yeah.
So it's like if you added, it's like if you took PayPal and combined it with X, essentially. So, which is funny enough, that's actually what Elon actually wants to do with X eventually. He wants it to be like an all, everything in one platform eventually.
No.
But anyway, TikTok is back.
Don't do it.
TikTok is back after Trump pledged to restore it. So it says, thanks for your patience and support as a result of President Trump's efforts. TikTok is back in the U.S. The whiplash move to bring the app back comes after TikTok became unusable for Americans late Saturday night. Users who tried to open the app at that time were met with a message saying it was offline and asking users to stay tuned. Blah, 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 blah. We went through that. Basically, we want to focus on this. So Trump said Sunday in a Truth Social post that he plans to issue an executive order following his inauguration on Monday, which he did, extend the period of time before the law's prohibitions take effect, so that we can make a deal to protect our national security. Americans deserve to see our exciting inauguration on Monday, as well as other events and conversations. Trump has said that he was considering a 90-day extension of the ban to give him time to work out a deal to sell the app to a non-Chinese owner. In the post, Trump said he would seek a 50-50 joint venture between TikTok's existing parent company, China-based ByteDance, and a new American owner. Such an announcement could serve as a kind of immediate political victory for Trump with America's youth, which he actually won. He actually won the youth vote, which is kind of insane that a fucking boomer-ass Republican won the youth vote in a federal presidential election. That's like, I never thought that would happen in my lifetime.
I don't think it's that shocking.
We have to remember that I'm an old too.
Well, I don't think it's that shocking because I think a lot of younger people, even though they're not outwardly showing it, are getting really tired.
I think that the majority of the youth is in the exhausted center, and that's where that's actually way more appealing to Trump than the left is.
Yep.
Yep. So
yeah, you have to remember, like, Trump isn't exactly like a super. Yes, he's like a boomer, right? But he's not like a hyper Republican.
No, he was a Democrat up until he ran for office in 2016. You know, he's a Clinton era Democrat. That's all he is. I mean, hell, like fucking Vivek Ramaswamy, Elon, a bunch of people that he's like surrounded himself with. RFK Jr. They're fucking 90s Democrats. You know?
Yeah, that's something like that's something that I remember like was really funny. Like during the elections, we were talking about how like this election is not Republicans. This last election was not Republicans versus Democrats.
It's normal. It's normal people versus crazy people.
Yeah,
that was old Republicans versus old.
No, it's old Democrats versus modern Democrats. That's really what it is.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, that's really what it is. So yeah, he did sign this thing. So he is seeking a 50-50 joint venture. That's what he wants, and it sounds like the CEO of TikTok is really open to that and actually wants that to happen, which means it probably will happen. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. And that's the end of the TikTok saga that I have for you all.